All right, so get this. I was at a blind tasting recently,
Uh-huh.
and I swear this one wine had me totally stumped.
Interesting.
It had this depth, these
Yeah.
complex layers of red fruit and spice.
Okay.
And I was convinced it had to be like some high-end Pinot Noir.
Wow. Yeah.
Turns out it was Cinsault.
Oh, cool.
Cinsault, you guys.
Oh.
I had no idea. It could be so well impressive.
It's a grape that loves to surprise, that's for sure.
No kidding.
People underestimate it.
Yeah,
They
they-
relegate it to simple rosés or blending grapes,
Right.
but there's a whole other side to Cinsault.
Okay.
A depth and complexity that can really knock your socks off.
And that's what we're diving deep into today.
Love it.
So for those who haven't had their world rocked by a mystery Cinsault,
Yeah.
what are we talking about here?
At its core, Cinsault is a red grape,
Okay.
and it's been around for centuries. We're talking way back,
Okay.
originating in the Languedoc-Roussillon region of France.
Wow.
And for a while there, it was the grape.
One of the most widely planted in all of France.
Really?
Yeah.
So what happened? How did it go from superstar to underdog?
Tastes change,
Right.
trends come and go. And
Yeah.
the wine world is no exception.
Yeah.
Other grapes, especially those deemed nobler at the time,
Yeah.
started stealing the limelight.
Okay.
Cinsault, because it was so prevalent, used in
Ah.
so many everyday wines,
Yeah.
kind of got lost in the shuffle.
That's wild.
Yeah.
It's like the band everyone loves, but then suddenly forgets about when the new flashy group comes along.
Totally.
But the story doesn't end there, does it?
Not at all.
Okay.
This is where things get really interesting.
Okay.
Just as Cinsault's star was fading in France,
Yeah.
it found a new stage.
Okay.
A whole new world of opportunity in South Africa.
Wait, South Africa? I had no idea.
Oh, yeah.
How?
South Africa fell head over heels for Cinsault.
Interesting.
It was brought over ages ago,
Okay.
and it just thrived in the climate there.
And the cool part is it didn't just become another grape.
Yeah.
It became a cornerstone of South African winemaking.
Okay, color me intrigued.
Yeah.
But let's talk taste for a second.
Absolutely.
Because at the end of the day, that's what matters, right?
Totally.
And I've got to admit, my experience at that tasting really opened my eyes to what Cinsault can do.
And what's fascinating about Cinsault is that it's incredibly sensitive to where it's grown.
Oh, really?
A Cinsault from coastal South Africa will taste completely different from one grown inland,
Wow.
even if it's made in the exact same style.
Interesting.
That's something you don't always see in other grapes.
Okay, now I'm even more curious.
Okay, great.
So break it down for us.
Okay.
What can we expect when we take a sip?
Imagine this. You've got a bowl of perfectly ripe red berries,
Okay.
juicy cherries, raspberries still warm from the sun, maybe a hint of strawberry.
Okay, I'm already getting summertime vibes.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's that kind of immediate, effortless charm,
I like it.
but there's more to it than just fruit. Cinsault often has this delicate floral dimension, too.
Mm-hmm.
Think rose petals scattered on a summer breeze,
Yeah.
maybe a whisper of violets.
Okay.
And the key here is these aren't overpowering perfume bomb aromas. They're subtle, nuanced,
Okay.
adding this beautiful layer of complexity without being overwhelming.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest, sometimes those super fragrant wines can be a bit much for me.
I hear you.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of Cinsault.
Oh, yeah.
It walks this lovely line of being flavorful and aromatic, but also incredibly approachable.
So we're not talking about big, bold, tannic wines here.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
One of the hallmarks of Cinsault is that it tends to be lighter bodied with
Oh.
those soft, velvety tannins.
Hold on, tannins.
Yeah.
You're going to have to break that down for me.
Okay.
I always hear that word thrown around.
Yeah,
I'm not entirely sure what it means.
you got it.
Yeah.
So tannins are what give red wine that drying sensation you get on your tongue after you take a sip. Think about how your mouth feels after you drink black tea. That's tannins at work.
Okay.
And the more tannins a wine has,
Yeah.
the more astringent that puckering feeling you get.
Oh, okay. I know exactly what you mean.
Right.
Yes.
So with Cinsault, the tannins are naturally low and soft,
Okay.
which is why the wines are so easy to drink.
Makes sense.
You don't need to wait years for them to soften up,
Right.
and they're not going to overpower your palate.
Okay. So we've got these soft, approachable wines.
Yeah.
They smell amazing.
Yeah.
They're not going to dry your mouth out.
Right.
But we touched on this earlier.
Yeah.
Cinsault isn't just a one-trick pony, right?
Exactly.
There's a whole range of styles it can do.
You're spot on.
Okay.
And maybe the most familiar style, at least these days, is rosé.
Okay.
Cinsault is the heart and soul of those gorgeous pale rosés coming out of Provence,
Right.
the ones everyone's posting pictures of on Instagram.
Okay. I love a good Instagram-worthy wine moment. But what makes Cinsault so perfect for those kinds of rosés?
It's a combination of things.
Okay.
First off, Cinsault naturally has less color pigment in its skins,
Right.
which is what gives rosé its lighter hue.
Okay.
Then you've got those beautiful red berry flavors it's known for,
Yeah.
but they come through in this really delicate, almost ethereal way.
Interesting.
And of course, that refreshing acidity we talked about plays a big role too,
Right.
keeping those rosés bright and lively.
So it's like the trifecta of rosé perfection.
Totally.
Pretty in pink, bursting with flavor, and totally refreshing.
Yeah.
No wonder everyone's obsessed.
Exactly.
Hmm.
But while the rosés might be having their moment in the sun,
Okay.
let's not forget about Cinsault's red wines.
Great.
There's a whole world of red Cinsault out there just waiting to be explored.
Tell me more.
Okay.
I feel like I've mostly seen Cinsault as part of a blend.
Yeah.
What should I be looking for in a single varietal red Cinsault?
Think of those juicy red berry flavors we talked about, maybe with a touch of spice.
Right.
A hint of earthiness.
Okay.
They're not going to be big tannic monsters that need decades to age.
Right.
These are wines meant for enjoying young,
Yeah.
with vibrant fruit and a wonderfully smooth texture.
Okay, so we're talking dangerously drinkable reds then.
Pretty much.
Sign me up.
Huh.
But you did say not necessarily when I mentioned big and tannic.
Mm.
Does that mean there are some exceptions to the rule?
There are always exceptions.
Okay.
And this is what I find so captivating about Cinsault.
Okay.
It can be a chameleon in the glass,
Interesting.
in warmer climates, or when it's grown on older vines.
Okay.
It can develop a more concentrated flavor profile.
Right.
And even some firm tannins.
Get out.
Yeah.
So I could have a light fruity Cinsault from a younger vine in a cooler region,
Right.
but then a totally different experience,
Strong.
something richer and more intense from an old vine in, say, South Africa.
You got it.
Wow.
It's all about how those environmental factors influence the grapes.
Sure.
And then, of course, the winemaker's choices in the cellar play a huge role, too.
So terroir and winemaking, it's all connected.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And then there's the whole world of blends.
Right.
Where Cinsault often takes on a supporting role.
Right.
Adding a touch of elegance and finesse.
It's like the secret ingredient that elevates the entire dish.
Exactly.
Are there any famous blends where Cinsault is a key player?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
It's one of the permitted grapes in Southern Rhone blends,
Right.
like the legendary Châteauneuf-du-Pape.
Wow. That's a pretty impressive resume for a grape that most people haven't even heard of.
I know, right?
Right.
It just goes to show you
Yeah.
there's so much more to Cinsault than meets the eye.
Okay, so we've talked about taste, we talked about styles,
Right.
but I'm also curious about the whole vineyard side of things.
Okay.
Where does Cinsault like to grow?
Yeah.
What does it need to thrive?
Sure.
Give us the dirt, literally.
Well, as we've hinted at, Cinsault is a bit of a sun worshiper. It loves those hot, dry climates.
Okay.
Which is why it's so happy in places like southern France and South Africa.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
It's a grape that clearly doesn't shy away from a little heat.
exactly. It's a vigorous vine, so
Oh.
it needs those warm temperatures and ample sunshine to ripen those grapes to perfection.
Yeah.
But here's the thing.
Okay.
While it loves the heat,
Yeah.
it's actually pretty adaptable when it comes to soil.
Okay. Interesting.
The one thing it's really picky about is drainage.
Okay.
Cinsault does not like soggy feet.
No one likes soggy feet.
Exactly.
Mm.
Well-drained soil is key for producing high-quality Cinsault grapes.
Okay.
And speaking of quality,
Yeah.
we're seeing a real movement towards more sustainable and organic farming practices,
Mm-hmm.
especially with Cinsault.
I was hoping you were going to say that.
Yeah.
I feel like more and more wine drinkers are looking for wines made with a little love for the planet, myself included.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And with Cinsault, it's not just about being trendy. Okay.
Those organic and biodynamic practices can have a real impact on the final wine.
Okay, break it down for me. How so?
Well, for one thing,
Okay.
these methods often mean lower yields.
Okay.
Fewer grapes per vine.
Right.
It's like concentrating a sauce.
Mm.
Less juice per grape means more intense flavors packed into each sip.
Interesting.
Plus, by working in harmony with nature,
Yeah.
you're encouraging those grapes to express the true character of the place they're grown, their terroir.
See, that's what I love about learning about wine.
Yeah.
It's like this whole web of interconnected things, from
Accurate.
the soil to the climate
Yeah.
to the people making it.
It truly is.
Okay, I think it's time we move on to the really important stuff.
Uh-huh.
food pairings.
All right.
Because what's the point of discovering an amazing wine if you don't know what delicious things to eat with it?
Couldn't agree more.
Right.
And Cinsault is a dream date when it comes to food pairings.
Oh, tell me more. Because when I think lighter reds...
My mind doesn't automatically jump to like the most exciting pairings.
Sure.
What can I eat with this magical grape? Hit me with your best shot. What are we pairing with Cinsault?
Well, remember that refreshing acidity we talked about?
Yeah.
That's your guiding star here.
Okay.
It cuts through richness beautifully,
Okay.
which makes Cinsault an absolute slam dunk with lighter grilled dishes.
Got it.
Imagine chicken skewers marinated with herbs,
Okay.
grilled fish with a squeeze of lemon, that kind of thing.
Okay, I can see how those flavors would complement each other perfectly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Cinsault loves fresh, vibrant ingredients.
Oh.
Salads with tangy dressings, dishes bursting with herbs.
Right.
Those are all going to be home runs.
Okay.
And because it's not a heavy wine,
Right.
it won't overpower delicate cheeses either.
Okay.
A fresh goat cheese or even some creamy burrata would be divine.
Suddenly I'm craving a whole Cinsault-themed picnic.
Right.
But I have to admit, when I think food pairings for red wine,
Yeah.
I usually go a bit bolder, a bit heartier.
Sure.
Can Cinsault really hang with those kinds of dishes?
It might surprise you, but yes.
Okay.
Don't forget, Cinsault's roots are in the Mediterranean.
Right.
So it's right at home with those sun-drenched flavors. Olives, olive oil, even a touch of spice.
Now you're talking. I'm all about a little culinary adventure.
Yeah.
Give me some specifics. What are we thinking?
Picture this, a platter of Spanish tapas.
Okay.
Maybe some chorizo.
Right.
Some patatas bravas, those salty olive.
Okay.
Or a big, beautiful bowl of ratatouille bursting with eggplant, zucchini, all those gorgeous summer vegetables.
Yeah.
The wine's natural fruitiness and that touch of earthiness plays so well with those savory, satisfying flavors.
This is blowing my mind.
Huh?
I never would have thought to pair a lighter red with those kinds of dishes.
Right.
You've officially expanded my culinary horizons.
I love it.
And just when you thought we'd covered it all, there's one more pairing that's an absolute game changer.
Oh, yeah.
Cinsault and summer desserts.
Yes.
Wait, back up a second.
Yeah.
Did you just say red wine dessert?
I did.
Details.
Think about desserts that aren't overly sweet.
Okay.
Maybe something with a berry element.
Right.
A strawberry tart with a dollop of whipped cream.
Okay.
A peach crumble with a scoop of vanilla bean ice cream.
Got it.
Cinsault's natural fruitiness echoes the dessert.
Yeah.
And that bright acidity cuts through the richness,
Right?
creating this perfectly balanced, totally irresistible bite.
Okay. You've convinced me.
Uh-huh.
I am absolutely putting Cinsault on my dessert pairing list from now on.
Good.
We've covered so much ground today. It's amazing. I came into this deep dive feeling like Cinsault was a complete mystery.
Right.
And now I just want to go out and try every single bottle I can find.
That's the beauty of a deep dive. There's always something new to discover.
So true. Okay, listener, we've armed you with knowledge.
Yes.
We've sparked your curiosity. Now it's your turn to get out there and explore the wonderful world of Cinsault.
Cheers to that.
If you're new to Cinsault, maybe start with a refreshing rosé. Feeling adventurous? Grab a bottle of red and try out some of those amazing food pairings we talked about.
Good idea.
And whatever you do, don't forget to share your Cinsault adventures with us on social media. We want to hear all about your discoveries.
Yes.
Until next time, happy sipping.